Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into the world of e-commerce, but with a twist.
Oh,
Yeah, a twist that might just blow your mind.
okay.
Imagine like a platform where you could get these incredible discounts, like 100 times lower than what you see anywhere else.
Wow.
That's over 99% off.
Yeah.
And that's what the Digital Shopping Mall, or DSM,
Okay.
is claiming to offer.
Hmm.
We're going to unpack an excerpt from their social hub. It's kind of like a Q&A to try to figure out how this whole thing is supposed to work.
Sounds interesting. It's certainly an attention-grabbing claim.
Yeah.
And the source material dives into their system, which relies on not one, but two digital currencies.
Okay.
Digital Shopping Coin, or DSC,
Okay.
and Digital Shopping Point, or DSP.
Okay, so two digital currencies.
Yeah.
So is this like a double crypto situation? Are they both cryptocurrencies?
That's where it gets interesting. The
Okay.
source material is really specific about this.
Right.
DSC is the actual cryptocurrency,
Right.
created by an NGO that focuses on global poverty eradication.
Okay.
But DSP is a voucher. It's kind of like a gift certificate that you can only use within the DSM platform.
Interesting.
It's tied to the value of DSC, but you can't trade it like you would with a cryptocurrency.
That's a pretty unique setup. So DSC is the actual coin, and DSP is more like store credit.
Exactly. It's a closed system. They
But-
want to keep all the value within the DSM ecosystem.
Yeah, I'm already seeing some potential benefits for shoppers, but I'm also wondering about the limitations.
Right.
But first, we need to back up a bit. Tell me more about this NGO minting the DSC. That seems like an unusual connection, right? What's the story there?
It is unusual, and this is really at the heart of their entire model.
Okay.
The NGO creates the DSC and uses it to essentially fund DSM.
Hmm.
And get this, they're aiming to list DSC on exchanges at a starting price of $50,000 per coin.
Wait, $50,000 per coin? That's a pretty bold move, especially since DSM hasn't even launched yet. What makes them think it's going to be worth that much?
They're betting big on the future success of DSM. Remember, all the DSC is currently held by DSM?
Right.
There's none available to the public yet. Okay, so the value will be driven by how much people want those DSP vouchers and how much they believe in the platform's potential. It's all about that demand for depth discounts.
Okay, so they're saying, trust us, this platform is going to be so huge that this coin will be worth a fortune. But it seems like a big gamble, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they're pegging the value to something that doesn't even exist in the market yet. What happens if things don't go as planned?
It is a huge gamble. And that brings us to their claim that DSC is dump-proof, meaning the price won't crash.
Okay.
Their reasoning is that DSM won't sell their DSC below the initial $50,000 price, and they believe that buyers hoping for the price to go up will hold on to their DSC rather than sell at a loss.
So they're kind of trying to control the market and prevent a crash, even though they're saying the value will be determined by market forces. Doesn't that seem a bit contradictory?
It definitely raises questions about how much control they really have over the market. And for someone thinking about buying DSC, it's a big risk. What if the demand for those DSP vouchers isn't as high as they expect? You could end up holding onto a very expensive coin with limited use.
It all comes back to that big if. If DSM is as successful as they predict, then maybe DSC takes off. But that's a big if. And remember, you can only use those DSP vouchers on the DSM platform.
Right.
So you're not just betting on DSC, you're betting on the entire platform.
Yeah. Fair.
Okay, let's talk more about this poverty eradication aspect.
Yeah.
How does that tie into all of this?
This is where things get even more interesting. The NGO plans to use DSC to help disadvantaged individuals gain economic power. Their idea is that bringing a huge population of people who are currently outside of the traditional economy into the active economy will lead to a massive increase in demand for DSM and its discounted products.
It's like they're trying to bootstrap an entirely new economy powered by people who haven't had access to these kinds of opportunities before. But is that realistic? Can access to a cryptocurrency really lift people out of poverty? I have so many questions.
Yeah, those are all great questions. And to be honest, the source material we're looking at doesn't give us many specific details about how the NGO actually plans to empower people economically. That's something to think about as we continue this deep dive. It definitely raises a lot of questions about how effective this approach will be. It's a really complex issue, giving someone access to currency, even a cryptocurrency like DSC. It doesn't automatically solve all the challenges that come with poverty.
Right.
Think about things like lack of education,
Yeah.
infrastructure, or healthcare. Those are huge hurdles that a digital currency alone can't overcome.
You're right. It's not a magic solution.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, is this focus on poverty eradication truly about making a difference, or is it just clever marketing to attract users and investors who want to feel good about where they're putting their money?
It's a valid question. There's a lot of skepticism around cryptocurrency projects.
For sure.
And connecting this one to an NGO could be a way to make it seem more trustworthy and appeal to a wider audience.
Let's be real. There have been a lot of questionable things happening in the crypto world. It's understandable why people would be cautious. And this whole idea of DSC being dump-proof because DSM won't sell below that $50,000 price,
Yeah.
well, it feels like they're trying to manipulate the market.
That's the thing. They're saying the value of DSC will be determined by market forces, but they're also putting in place mechanisms to prevent it from dropping.
Right.
It makes you wonder how free this market will actually be.
It's definitely something for potential buyers to consider. If the demand for DSPs doesn't meet their expectations and the value of DSC doesn't go up, those investors could be stuck with an expensive digital asset that they can't really do much with.
And remember, you can only use those DSP vouchers within the DSM ecosystem.
Right.
So you're not just investing in a cryptocurrency, you're investing in the success of this entire platform.
It makes me think about all these companies trying to create their own little economies within the digital world. We see it with things like in-game currencies, loyalty points, and platform-specific tokens.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, can these closed systems really work in the long run? Do they ultimately limit consumer choice and prevent innovation?
That's the big question, isn't it? Are we moving towards a world where everything is fragmented with different digital economies, all operating with their own rules and currencies? It could completely change how we shop, interact, and even think about value.
It's a pretty mind-blowing thought. It highlights how important it is to really think critically about these new digital landscapes.
Yeah.
We need to ask the tough questions. Who benefits from these systems? What are the risks involved? And what kind of impact could they have on our lives and the global economy in the long run?
Absolutely. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about. It's not just about understanding the technical details of DSC and DSP, it's about considering the bigger picture and the potential consequences of these innovations.
We started with the exciting promise of huge discounts, but now we're seeing that there's a lot more to this story. There are complexities, uncertainties, and potential risks to consider. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Exactly. And as you continue to explore this concept, ask yourself, could this model, with its unique blend of e-commerce, cryptocurrency, and social impact, really change the way things work? Or is it just another example of hype and speculation in the constantly evolving world of digital finance?
It's hard to say for sure, but one thing's clear. This digital shopping mall concept is pushing the boundaries of what's possible. They're talking about bringing a huge portion of the world's population into a new digital economy. That's unprecedented.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. It's not just about setting up another online marketplace. They're aiming to reshape how global commerce works and tackle one of humanity's biggest challenges, poverty.
It's a bold vision, but there are bound to be challenges along the way. We've already talked about the skepticism around cryptocurrencies and the risks for investors. What other obstacles do you see?
Adoption is a big one. Even if they have amazing technology, they need to convince both businesses and consumers to use this new system. Merchants need to see the value in accepting DSPs and offering those deep discounts. And consumers, especially those who are supposed to benefit from economic empowerment, need access to the technology and then knowledge to navigate this new digital landscape.
That's a huge task.
Mm.
It would require a massive shift in how people think and behave, not just on an individual level, but on a global scale. It's a lot to ask.
And it's important to consider what might happen unintentionally. If DSM becomes as successful as they hope, could it disrupt existing markets and economies? Could it create new forms of inequality or make existing ones worse? These are questions that need to be carefully considered.
It's like opening a Pandora's box.
Yeah.
You're releasing a powerful force into the world, but you can't fully predict or control the consequences.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to approach these innovations with a healthy dose of skepticism and critical thinking. We need to weigh the potential benefits against the potential risks and have open and honest conversations about the future we want to create.
This deep dive has been a whirlwind of information and insights. We've explored the inner workings of the digital shopping hall, the ambitious claims of a dump-proof cryptocurrency, and the audacious goal of combating global poverty through a new digital economy.
It just shows how quickly the world is changing and how much potential these emerging technologies have to transform things.
So what does all of this mean for you, the listener? This deep dive has given you a glimpse into a possible future of e-commerce. Now we encourage you to go beyond the information we presented. Do your own research. Ask critical questions. And most importantly, think about how these developments could impact your life, your community, and the world around you.
The future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we actively shape through our choices, our actions, and our engagement. The digital shopping mall, with all its complexities and uncertainties, is just one example of the many forces that will shape the world of tomorrow. The question is, what role will you play?
It really feels like we're on the edge of something huge here. But I keep coming back to this question. Can this actually work? It all sounds incredible, it's like on paper.
Yeah.
But will it actually play out that way in the real world?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There are so many factors at play.
Yeah.
The technology has to work flawlessly, people need to understand and trust it, and the global economic landscape has to be ready for this kind of shift.
It's like a giant puzzle where all the pieces have to fit perfectly for the bigger picture to emerge.
Yeah.
And even then, there's no guarantee of success.
Right. And we have to remember that the DSM is operating within a larger system.
Yeah.
They're not creating this in a vacuum. There are governments, regulations, existing businesses, and consumer behaviors that could all impact how things unfold.
Thinking about those existing businesses, I have to wonder how they would react to a platform offering such drastically lower prices. Would they try to compete? Would they try to shut it down?
That's a great point. It's hard to imagine established players just sitting back and watching their market share disappear. They'd likely try to adapt, innovate, or maybe even try to undermine the DSM in some way.
It could spark a whole new wave of competition and innovation in the e-commerce space, which could ultimately benefit consumers.
Yeah,
But there's also the potential for some serious disruption.
exactly. And let's not forget about the potential impact on jobs. If DSM succeeds in automating many aspects of e-commerce, what happens to the people currently working in those roles? These are the kinds of questions we need to be asking as we evaluate the potential impact of these new technologies.
It seems like every potential benefit comes with a potential downside.
Hmm.
It's a constant balancing act. But ultimately, I think it's incredibly exciting to see ideas like this emerge. It shows that people are thinking big and trying to find solutions to global problems. Whether DSM succeeds or not, it's pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
I agree. This deep dive into the digital shopping mall has been a journey of discovery, filled with intrigue, skepticism, and thought-provoking questions. We've explored the complexities of their system, the audacious claims of their cryptocurrency, and the ambitious goal of combating poverty through a new digital economy.
We've uncovered a lot, but there's still so much to explore.
For sure.
And we're leaving that exploration up to you, the listener.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this concept? Do you believe it has the potential to revolutionize e-commerce and make a positive impact on the world?
We encourage you to delve deeper into the digital shopping mall and form your own opinions. Do your research, challenge assumptions, and consider the potential implications from all angles.
The future of e-commerce and perhaps even the global economy is being shaped right now. And your engagement is crucial in shaping that future. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and keep those critical thinking caps on.